I'm Jessie Clemens from Pleasant Valley High School, and this is Empowering the Iowa Girl. Yeah, so I'm Jessie Clemens. I play 3 sports here at Pleasant Valley. I play softball, track, and I play basketball as well. And I look forward, I'm going to be playing softball at Iowa State in the coming year.
All right, so I'm going to read this to you, Jessie, and I want you to give me your take on it. The recipient of this award is recognized as being representative of the most elite of the superlative Iowa girl, not only on the playing field, but also in the classroom, in her school, and in her community. Her profile will reflect discipline, perseverance, character, citizenship, and leadership, which personified in the life and expectations of E. Wayne Cooley. That is the description of the E. Wayne Cooley Award that you were the recipient of this year. What does it mean to be the recipient of that award?
It's an absolute honor. I mean, I have done a little bit of my research on E. Wayne Cooley and what he did for the Iowa girl, and not just the Iowa girl, Iowa high school girls across the country. And it is so flattering, and I'm very, very grateful that I am able to continue his legacy and hopefully make my stamp on the Iowa girl.
When you were going through that application process, and it obviously focused on the school aspect, but also the community, when you reflect back on applying for that, what does this community mean to you?
This community is awesome. I mean, we get a lot of people coming out to support, like my family. I'm really, really thankful for my family. And when I was doing a lot of the community service that I have done through the high school, I learned and I got a lot more, I got a lot of skills that I wouldn't be able to learn if I hadn't done it. So I'm very, very grateful that I got to step into my community and I got to learn more about it, and I'm really thankful that I had that opportunity.
How'd you get involved in sports? You said you're a multi-sport athlete, you've had a great career here at Pleasant Valley, but what started that off? How did sports first enter the picture for Jessie Clemens?
Yeah, well, I have 2 brothers, so living with 2 brothers has its ups and downs, and both of them are very competitive. And so my parents played sports in high school as well, so they threw my brothers and I into every sport you could think of. And we just fell in love with it, played outside almost every day in the summer, whatnot, going to the parks and stuff, and just dove right into it.
Was there a sport early on that grabbed your attention?
Not really. There was a big portion of my life where I did not know if I wanted to do, my 2 main ones was basketball and softball. And it ended up working out that it was softball. I didn't dive into the travel team, AAU basketball kind of era. I turned more into the softball, so it ended up being softball.
Was there a little career in soccer or volleyball, or did you dabble in these other sports in that junior high age?
Oh yeah, I started running track in junior high. I played soccer through 5th, 6th grade, played tennis. I don't think competition-wise though, only against my brothers. But I wrestled when I was young. I did cross country at junior high as well, so just dabbled in everything I could.
Role models and heroes. Growing up in Pleasant Valley, was there a role model or hero, or is there a coach? Who's somebody that's had an impact on you that has been a source for you to go back to as you're moving forward?
Yeah, I would definitely highlight the Spell Out girls, Carly and Ellie both. I grew up watching them. I thought they were the coolest people ever, and I actually thought they only played basketball. I didn't watch PV softball growing up because I didn't know much about it, but I thought they were so cool to watch. They worked hard, they were really good at what they did, they were really good teammates, they were strong, athletic, and they were definitely striving factors in who I wanted to be when I came to Pleasant Valley.
How much older were they than you?
About 4 years, so I would be in 7th grade when Carly graduated.
The best part about that, there's a 7th grade girl saying the same thing about you right now. Yeah, I mean, you never know that ripple effect. That's awesome. Multi-sport athlete, basketball, track, softball. Summarize your experience here. I mean, we could spend 20, 30 minutes talking about the accolades and the championships and the runner-up and all that, but kind of take us through each of those. How did that basketball experience, how did that softball experience, how's that track? How does being a multi-sport athlete make you who you are?
Yeah, well, it's definitely a battle. One of the hardest things, I think, is trying to balance the off seasons with all of them. Like in the summer and the softball, when I'm in softball season, basketball open gyms are in full force, so I miss a lot of those. And when basketball season in the winter is full force, I miss a lot of softball open gyms. So I think the constant battle for me has been trying to balance and making sure that I'm getting enough reps that I need to in between seasons. And then softball and track, it's about a month overlap. So for 2 or 3 weeks, I will be doing like 2-a-days. So I'll finish up track practice and then I'll go over to softball, you know. So just balancing that is very, very important.
And on the flip side of that, how does having to be able to handle that pressure in the batter's box, starting the blocks, and then shooting the three, how do they complement each other? You might be missing some of that gym time, but as an athlete, as a competitor, how do they complement each other?
Oh, beautifully. It's really interesting. I thought a lot about it, and I would say, me personally, I would think softball is probably the hardest mentally for me. Track is difficult because it's super individualized, and it's just you go out there, you do what you can, but I know like 100% it's the same race every single time. You know, in basketball, it's more team and team chemistry, team flow oriented. So it's like, it's not you. If you have a bad game, that is okay because somebody else will, somebody else has got your back.
The championship series. Well, let's stick on this multi-sport for a second here. What advice would you give a young athlete at Pleasant Valley, or for that matter, any Iowa girl from the state, on navigating those waters? What would be your advice to a freshman coming in saying, hey, you know, I don't want to specialize, I want to be a multi-sport. What advice would you give them?
I would say discipline, because it's going to be very hard. You're going to have a lot of moving parts, and the one thing that you can control is how hard you work, and you control your attitude and your effort. And so if you focus on whatever sport you're in right there and you're going to give it your all, that's what you can do. But if you want to be the best, and you have to find time out of your season practice to work on other things that are out of season. And so you have to stick with it. You can't go, oh, I'll take this week off. You have to have a regiment, and you have to have other people to support you because you can't do it alone. My mom, my dad, my brothers, they help me stay on track. They help me get motivated when other days I really, really don't want to. So
There's a culture of women athletics in Pleasant Valley right now. It's pretty impressive. When you look at your last couple of years, your junior, senior year here, what plays a part of that? What do you think? What's the secret ingredient? What's helped with that culture here?
Well, I think has a lot to do with our coaches and our athletic director, Deanne. I mean, she gives a lot of publicity to our women's athletics, and then she gives the publicity, and then our coaches give us the reins and show us how to do it. You know, I mean, of course we're the ones doing it, but it's the people behind the scenes that are working, that are saying, hey, come out to the girls' game tonight, you know, and it's those people that are behind the scenes working. You know?
Outside of sports, it's busy. How do you relax? What's your downtime? What's your jam? What's the thing that you love to do to just take your mind off everything?
I love watching TV. Netflix is usually, I'll just go in and dive right in. I don't know what I'm watching right now. My brother's a Star Wars fan, so he's begging me to watch the new Bad Batch series. So that's what I've been watching right now. But also I have a dog, and so sometimes just relaxing, I'll lay on the ground and she'll run over and trample me, you know, just fun stuff like that.
Perfect. Adversity and or pressure. When you think about those two as an athlete, especially multi-sport athlete, can you tell us about a time where you faced adversity, you faced pressure, and how did you cope with it? How did you get through that time?
Yeah, I think last year, my junior season of softball, I was freshly committed to going to Iowa State, and everybody was like, wow, and I was like, all right, this season is going to be my breakout season. You know, I'm going to just do amazing. And hitting wise, I did good. I was dedicated in the off season, but on the flip side, I was not as dedicated on the fielding aspect as I should have been. And I paid for that during the season, and I did well, but I didn't field as well as I wanted to. And I felt the pressure of everybody, like, oh, she made another error, you know, ooh, can she pull through? Can she hit this runner, and can she lead off and start this team on a good note? And so dealing with that pressure, I looked to my brother, both of my brothers, and they told me, if you keep worrying about what everybody thinks of you, you're going to crumble, you know? And if you worry about the outside stuff, it's not going to help you. If you worry about, hey, what can you do better this game? What can I do? What can I focus on this practice, on this at-bat to help me do better in the game? That's what I'm going to do.
Did that also make you a better teammate going through that?
I think so, yes. I mean, I definitely needed my teammates during that. I was kind of a wreck emotionally, and they supported me every bit of the way. I don't think they doubted that I would come back stronger than ever, and they helped me. They were saying, hey, Jess, let's get some extra reps after practice. I'll hit them to you, you know, stuff like that.
When you look at the tournament experience, softball, basketball, and track, what will you take away from those state tournaments? What about getting to the tournament or getting the championship? Just what's the takeaway from those events?
I always remember the crowds. Specifically, I remember at state basketball, and we were in the championship game, and Reagan Pagliano had to make some very clutch free throws to put us up 3 or 4 coming into the last seconds of the game. And I remember that I couldn't hear myself think. The floor was shaking, it was so loud. And it was just such a cool moment. And at state track, you have all these people watching you and cheering you on. And then at state softball, you have these big bleachers that everybody's going to. And I always remember the crowds and everybody that comes out to support me.
How important is the pink t-shirt?
Pink t-shirt's awesome. I was so jealous this year when they came out with the pink hats, because I really want one. Those are sweet.
Spartan Sports Editor. How did that come about?
Yeah, so we have a class called Honors Journalism. It's taught by a teacher, Miss Dyer. She's lovely, and she runs our Spartan online newspaper, which is called the Spartan Shield. And so I took the class, and the entire class just runs the website. And so we just applied for some positions, and Spartan or sports editor was one of them. I was like, I think I can handle that. So I applied. Miss Dyer said, go for it, and that's how I went.
What's something within that role that you maybe didn't anticipate but you really enjoy?
I learned time management very well. It takes multiple people to get an article published, and there were 3 different editors that needed to edit one article. There was a photo that needed to be uploaded. Miss Dyer sometimes looked at them, and then after we gave feedback, the author would need to revise. And so then I would take one last look at it, and then I would publish it. So when somebody didn't do their job, then it would be postponed, and you would have to remind them, and it was a mess if people weren't on their game. And so I thought that was very, very important in the real world, when I will realize, hey, if you don't get your assignment in on time, it affects other people.
Sounds like a teamwork component.
Exactly.
Now the recruiting process. Great high school career, Take us through a little bit. How did that start? Did it start with softball? Was there other interests, other sports, big school, small school? When did the recruiting process kind of start?
Yeah, so I started going to camps. I was always focused on recruiting for softball. I never really got into the basketball recruiting. September 1st of my junior year came around, and I got a call from Iowa State, UNI, and then Drake as well, and I was super, super pumped. I was freaking out a little bit too, because we had a FaceTime call, and that was very scary. But just going to their camps, spending the money, spending the time traveling, all of that stuff, going to different official visits, that was very cool. It was very interesting to see the team camaraderie, how day-to-day things kind of work, and what life is like at the college.
What separated Iowa State from the rest?
I really enjoyed the team atmosphere. Obviously, my two main ones was Iowa State and Drake, and they're extremely different. So I had to really focus on, did I want a big school, a small school? That was the two main things. Money, obviously, how much it cost was in effect, but it was really came down to, okay, this Iowa State team, they're fun, they're into it, they're all very dedicated to the sport like I am, and their facilities are outstanding, they're incomparable, so.
How big of a relief was it once you made your decision?
After I called Coach Pinkerton, I cried because I was like, wow, I didn't realize how much pressure was lifted off of my shoulders until I hung up that phone. And then I called my mom and dad and cried some more. And it was superb.
Finishing up track, you get your senior year of softball. What's your mindset now as you start this? It's starting, the transition's starting. You're going to graduate here in a month and then off to Iowa State. So as you're getting ready to get into Iowa State, college, and athletics, what's your mindset coming into this summer?
Yeah, I want to be the best version of myself I can. We had a goals meeting with my softball coach recently, and I told her I want to do better than I did last year. I want to be stronger. Obviously, I want my stats to be better, but I also want to be a better playmaker. I want to be 2 steps ahead of everybody else. I want to be able to manipulate the game so that we have the advantage, so.
Last question for you. Can you believe that? What does it mean to be an Iowa girl?
An Iowa girl is somebody that values leadership, somebody that values their community, their athletics, and their academics. An Iowa girl is extremely strong-willed, doesn't take crap from anybody, and they are somebody who is extremely driven and is not afraid to get things done. Accountability. Accountability is the trust that your teammates and coaches have in you to get things done, whether that's picking up after you're done or finishing the not cheating on a test, or holding the door for the person behind you. Communication is one of the most underrated values. I think that if you can communicate well, people are going to want to be around you, and they can trust you that if you don't know something, you will ask, and if you do know something, you will share that with other people. Leadership. Leadership is special because you can lift other people up with you. It's something that not a lot of people have, and it's something where you hold the spotlight and you shine in the spotlight. You're not dull, you aren't afraid to make mistakes, and you have other people to lift you up as well. Parents are special because they have an insight that nobody else has. They care about you to the moon and back, and sometimes they get too passionate and sometimes they are embarrassing, but that's the special thing about them because they're always there for you. Culture. Culture is important because it is how well your team meshes together. If you don't respect or trust each other, nothing's going to get done, and you're not going to have a smooth, loving team that has the same common goal. Teamwork is important because if you have one person that's not as dedicated as the other, if you have one person that's slacking off, it affects the rest of the team. So if all of you are committed and have the same goal, then you are going to achieve your goals together. Work ethic. Work ethic is fun because it's what you can control. It is one of the things that you personally have full control over, and it is something that is very valued by a lot of coaches and teammates, because if you're not great, but if you come in and work hard every single day, you are going to be a valuable member of the team.